Okay, that's quite enough talk about what we're going to do. Well, let's get on and do it! I'm okay. I'm okay. Before we work on the board, we're going to need to assemble a few components. Obviously all of the wires for the struts are already done, but we're going to need some wires going off to the LEDs. Now, because the LEDs are in such close proximity, I'm only going to have one wire going to each. The board will be roughly around there-ish, I would imagine. And we want to make sure we give plenty of a wire length. After all, it's very easy to make a wire shorter. It's more annoying to make a wire longer. We're going to need to fish out some resistors. Looking at the resistor table we made way back when, we've got red and green, which means we need a 560 and a 470 for the green, which I have right here. And last but not least, we need to just put a break in this board for the resistor split. Alright, those are all the cables out for the LEDs in the after section. We now need to add some cables going off into the engineering section. Keep these cables nice and tidy with a little bit of insulation tape. With all of that done, our next step is to think about the LEDs. Now this is the top and this is the bottom. We need to test fit the LEDs, so we need to see whether the holes are big enough. It's a little too tight for my liking, so much like we did before with the nacelles, we're just going to grab a circular file and just expand the holes a little bit. And we only had these two wires coming off down toward the flashing LEDs, and I was going to have them together. But then I realised that when working on these, I'm going to need to be able to have it hinged and take apartable before finally clamping everything down to ensure all the circuitry and what have you is laid out correctly. So actually what I'm going to need to do is have individual lines coming off for each LED, which I've just done off camera. Naturally I would have made the copper board larger rather than soldering right onto the bottom, but as the copper board was already made and is the size it is, I've just soldered them onto the bottom contacts. So now what we can do is go ahead and solder on all of the LEDs and the nacelles. Once they're all soldered on, we can secure the board down, glue in the strobes on the top and bottom, and then all that's left to do is slap it together, fill in any gaps with putty, and the job is a good one. Now, it's not the end of the world if we get this wrong, but it's important to remember that red is on the left and green is on the right. So, I'm going to do red first, and then trying to do this in line with the legs. One there, and one there. And after each one, I'm just going to go ahead and test to make sure that I haven't damaged the LED. Of course, it helps if the power supply is plugged in. Right, that's one. Another one to do. With that done, our next task is to clean up these LED ends, and by that I just mean making sure there's no sticky out bits of metal and just binding them with some insulation tape to ensure that they can't accidentally short each other out. To wrap the LEDs, I'm just taking a piece of insulation tape which is just longer than the leg length of exposed wire, wrapping it around one leg so that it sticks back on itself, just securing it. And then I'm just going to wrap that insulation tape up, over and around. Just creates this cozy little cocoon, making sure that I put in a nice bit of sticky ridge between the legs so that they can't come together. And that just gives it that nice little safe edge so that it can't accidentally come into contact with any other leg. That's enough work on the squib for today. I'm out of time. So, when we pick up in the next video, we're going to go ahead, bring all the nacelles together, get all the LEDs on it, stick it down. My prediction for 3, maybe not 4. Okay, okay. But until next time, I'm Raven, and that's all from the desk. Cha. Ow.